What's going on, guys? It's been a long time since we made another video, but we are back today. We actually have a different vehicle we are working on. The last video showed that we had the purple BMW here. That is no longer here. Again, we purchased that just to get the parts out of it and then to send it to the scrapyard and get the money that we spent on it. So we got as much as we could off of it, which I will make another video on what we got and stuff like that. But today we're going to just work on what we have here. So behind me, which is this, is a 2008 GMC Yukon, which I had one or two vehicles. It's one of those days, but here we are. We are doing valve cover gaskets on it. If you guys can see, the valve cover gaskets are there. Okay, so this is a 6.2 liter V8 Chevy motor, which is equivalent to the LS or so, but this is a truck motor. But right now we're just replacing the valve cover gaskets. So I got everything out the way. I moved everything to the side. Got a zip tied here just so I can move the valve cover. Scraped off the gaskets itself a little bit. I probably got to do a little bit more. As you can see, a little stuff laying there. So I scraped it off a little bit more. Just to get a clean surface, but pretty much the video is I'm gonna be showing you guys how to take off this side. This side is a little bit more difficult, it's a little more complicated. The other side is a little bit easier, but it's very simple. We should be able to get through this together. Pretty much everything is just disconnecting everything, you know, just to make it easier accessible, and moving the hoses out the way. So once we get started on that, I'll show you guys what we're going to be doing. But this is the other side. These things are covered in oil. This vehicle has over 250,000 miles on it, and this is the first time the valve covers are getting changed. I usually don't prefer, but I just sprayed it down. I actually use oven cleaner. Oven cleaner is one of the most recommended things to clean engine parts. It's a lot cheaper than engine degreaser. So you can go to your Dollar General or your local dollar store and pick that up for yourself. It lasts quite a bit. I actually got this idea off of another YouTube channel, Taylor Ray. So if you guys watch him, definitely subscribe to his channel. He always has good advice and techniques to use that could save you a little bit of money. So of course this is all oil right now, but it was filled up with water, so it's like 50-50 mix, I guess, because I've been just scrubbing this down and dunking it in there. So we gotta let this dry, get all the water out, let air dry, and then replace the keepers. As you can tell, these are the seals right here for the bolts. These things are all tore up, and that's also caused another leak. So yes. This one is ripped. As you can see, the other part is actually still stuck down in there. So yeah, so I'm glad we're taking these all apart. This one was broken too. So all this was actually caused oil problems, which we have been having with this truck. If you guys want to see the evidence, this side is not that bad. I wasn't going to videotape this because I thought this was going to be very simple, which it is, but you know, with some simple to some person, it may be difficult to others. So it's been a while since I made a video, so I figured this would be a nice little update for you guys, so enjoy. Alright, so just to give you guys a heads up, this is not a how-to video. It's just a quick video, me explaining how we're getting to these valve cover gaskets. So pretty much I took the actual intake off. I left the box there, but just left the middle piece. There's just two screws, one clamp here and another clamp for this. That pops right off of these two nipples here. So you just lift that up, pull it out. You can get rid of that, and that opens the access all of this. So that literally makes up a lot of room for this. It makes it a lot easier. Now you have your AC lines right here. Of course they run right through. I just picked them up, flipped them over just over the dipstick. They actually rest right into this bracket here, but we will be taking that bracket off. So again, that makes this a lot easier and visible to pull out the ignition coils. So next step, pull out the clips for your fuel injectors. Of course, this is your fuel rail. So we pop these out. All you gotta do is lift these green clips up. I use a nice little pick with the end on it, which is like this. It has this little end on it, so you can get under it. Let's see if I can do this one. So one all the way in the back, you just lift up just like that, and then you just gotta push this little tab in there with your hand and give it a little twist, pops right off. Very simple. So you take these off, and now we just gotta take off these clips for the ignition coil. There's 4 of those for each coil. Unplug this connector for the ignition coils. I believe that's what for the harness for all of them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So take this one off, all 4 of those, and then we can start unbolting these and moving these out the way. Now if you look at this, this is actually the harness that goes through the fuel injectors. It's actually decoded. It should be loomed all the way through, just like this. But just like, sorry, I'm kind of leaning over this a little bit. Let's see if I get a better picture. Just like this alternator wire. So this thing was loomed all the way across, but this thing is so brittle, it actually is just breaking. It's literally just breaking apart just by touching it. It's coming on my hands and everything, and it's making a mess all up in there. You can see all the broken bits and pieces. So I gotta clean this off. I'm gonna try to see how far it is. I'm guessing this is a heating issue. Yeah, look at this. This is a heat issue, I believe, just from being next to the hot engine. So I'm gonna try to relume this. I believe I have some, just to make it look nicer. You know, again, this truck has over 300,000 miles on it, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect. But the more you do add a little bit of time over that little bit, over a long period of time, that little bit of stuff will add up. So everything looks pretty good. I haven't got to the bottom. You see, there's some oil line, some thick oil right here, and it's all under, so I wanted to pay attention to that. So, you know, like I said, a little bit of things here and there, and we should get this thing going. Alright, so we got both of the ignition coils out of here. Just upon looking at this again, these 4 clips that I said you had to take off previously, you do not. Again, just take off this one clip here that I was showing on the side that connects to the harness, which makes sense because this one line powers all 4, and then it connects to the main harness. I just couldn't tell with all the wires on there, but even though they're easy enough just to pop in there, you just want to make sure you're careful. Sorry, the wind again. You just want to be careful you don't break these clips with a pry on them. They're very heavy duty, unlike other clips, so you shouldn't have a problem. Again, if you always think you're going to break it, you know, always think twice before just going ahead and trying, because you never know how easy it is to get the parts and how long it will take to get them, or so on and so forth. So just take your time. We're pretty much there. Now we just got to take off the 4 bolts just to hold the cover on. I want to see if I can get this oil filler tube, just because you see that gasket there is kind of smushed, and that could be causing oil to leak out. So I'm trying to see if I can get this off, but it's giving me a little bit of trouble. But I feel like if I can get it off now, it'll be easier than if I try to take it off, because then I'll have to put it in the vise. Other than that, you know, this tube is all disconnected here, but I'll probably pop it out. But I'll take it off when I get it, take the valve cover off. But other than that, this is very simple. It's an easy job, and then you just gotta lay the valve covers in there, and we'll put this thing back together. So I mean, overall, it probably took me maybe about 3 hours, and I've been taking my time walking in and out. You can get this done, you know, in at least 2 hours or so. But you know, very simple job. Let's finish her up. We got everything set up. We were able to get the valve covers off. We cleaned the surface area on the driver's side. We still got to do the passenger side. Again, when I cleaned the valve covers, I actually dumped them in water, so I want to just let them air dry. I took the air compressor, sprayed it all down, get into the crevices, and there's still a little bit of water dripping. So before I put everything back in, I'd rather just let it sit for a little bit. But we have all the parts just sitting on the side. Right here, we've got the ignition coils. And then the valve covers over there, just air drying. So I guess give it about a couple minutes, and then we'll get back to it, get it back on, and then get this thing on the road again. probably do oil change and stuff. I believe I went under there, that one part that I said that I was looking at the oil on my finger. I believe that's coming somewhere from the oil pan gasket, possibly somewhere in that area. So I haven't got under the car and jacked it up and looked, but I will put my money on the oil pan gasket, but we'll find out later on. All right, guys, so we're back here with another cold day. This is Sunday. It's 2 days later. Christmas was the following previous day, and then I had to do some family functions. So today was the only day I was able to go out and get new parts. So the problem was the gaskets I got supposedly are too short. I did, of course, went cheap and got them off of eBay. So I went ahead and went to the auto parts store, and I got some Felpro gaskets, and let's see how these work. All right, so I had to go pick up actual gaskets where I left off. I replaced the keepers, but the gaskets I went to install were too short, so I picked up these Felpro. They fit the 5.3, 5.7, 6.0, and 6.2. The part number is the VS50504R-1. So these should work. Hopefully, once I open this up, I can't return it, but if not, there's something else is wrong with these valve covers. Okay, so easy enough, these did lay right in there. Just to show you that when you buy cheap products, they end up costing you more money in the end. These took about a couple seconds and they laid right in there, stretched right in. The other issue I had was they were too small, and it would shorten about right here, and as soon as you try to overlap it, the other side would pop off. So those would be garbage, but I'm glad these are correct products. These are not OEM, but they are OEM adjacent. So let's get these on and let's get this going. Alright guys, so here we are. We got a quick just showing you guys what's going on. So we put the valve covers back on, and then we connected everything for the ignition coils. Again, this wasn't a how-to video, but I'm just showing you a quick video that we are still working in the shop getting things done. Again, it's chilly out here, so it's just taking a little bit, and then trying to record everything makes it a little bit harder. But again, replace the valve cover gasket, like I said, with the Felpro gaskets. Then we just went ahead and installed the ignition coils, connecting everything. I want to go ahead and redo the harness. As you can see, some of the harness is actually a little exposed, so instead of connecting everything back together, as you can see, the alternator wire is very exposed as before. And then this is actually the fuel injector harness that's also exposed. And you can see it's like a little bit of heat. I'm not too sure if it's heat or just dirt and oil. It's probably dirt and oil and grime. The camera's not showing that up, but so we want to go ahead and relume this just to make it a little pretty, less chances of anything going wrong, and then get this thing back on the road. Again, this is my mother's vehicle, so it does get used a lot. It has over 250,000 miles on it, closer to 270. So this vehicle is needs to stay on the road, stay maintenance, and just doing a little bit of a little top maintenance on it. Next, we might have to go under it. Again, there is some oil leaking down there, like I said before, so I'm not too sure if that's an oil pan. So we'll work on that too after we finish up with all this and start driving a little bit. All right, so here we are. We left off. We have everything all set up with the valve covers on. We got the actual filler neck connected. We have the ignition coils all connected. Pretty much what we have to do right now is just relume the harness. Of course, it's going to start getting darker, but I'm going to see if I pull my light out and get some good footage. So what we have here is just a nice universal Loom Kit itself. Just a plastic piece you usually see on OEM cars. Like you see here, as you can tell, this is already starting to get brittle itself here. So there's nothing I could do, but at least the actual wires are actually exposed, we can take care of. So what we're going to do, we're going to do our best, and we start replacing with, I would say, the alternator harness first. We can start doing that, and then we can at least put these back. Well, sorry, we can't even do that because we got to do this harness also. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if I get back here first. Alright, so pretty easy. You just gotta separate the loom and kind of tuck everything in there. And then we're going to just pretty much get our electrical tape and then pretty much tape everything on so it doesn't pop out. Cut the excess that we have off, and then we should be good to go. Alright, so this is the finished product of the harness itself, of the looming. Now I just gotta finish pretty much wrapping this up with electrical tape, so we're going to do that now. So let's see if we can get that situated. Alright, so I'm trying to wrap this up. Now the reason why we're doing this is, again, to not have the wires so exposed to heat. Of course it gets very hot under this engine, so we don't want anything trying to get all the wires to expose itself and then start causing electrical issues. So that's why we were just wrapping this up. And it also just makes it look nicer, so you don't see all a bunch of wires, different colors and stuff like that when you open up the hood. Now again, I will repeat, this car is a daily driver, so it needs reliability most. There are almost 300,000 miles on this car, so this thing does get used very often. So with that saying, it just has a lot of miles. Has been neglected here and there, besides, you know, doing the regular oil changes and replacing the oil filter. But of course that's not the only thing to keep the vehicle on the road. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty and figure out what else is going on. So that's what we have this here for, and well, we are doing our best. So this is definitely making it a lot nicer, as you could tell. It's going to take me a little bit, pretty much just wrapping and pulling, get this thing to look as neat as possible before we get this thing all tucked away. So now that one's all done, and we just go ahead and splice this one up. Try not to cut your finger. I'm using a razor blade, that's all I have. Makes my job a little bit easier. I could pull it, but I don't want to risk damaging the harness. Alright, so pretty much that, and then, you know, tape around here a little bit, just so this doesn't move around, and connect this to the exposed harness. Hopefully you guys can see. Again, there's not really much to see, but I'll show you guys anyways. This is the finished product. As you can see, we wrapped around the harness, the loom, and then this is the other one I just did. So now, once we do all that, then we have to do this cable here, which goes to from the battery to the alternator. So we gotta reloom that one, and then snake that back in there and bolt that back up to the alternator over here, and then that would be all set. So we're finishing up the actual wrapping of the harness itself. You can't really see, but these are the clips right here, the blue and green with silver on them, and these connect right into the fuel injectors, which are down here. As you can tell, it's very hard to see right now, but it's very easy to get to. All you gotta do is push them in, set them, and you'll hear them click. You definitely want to make sure they click, and then you just push down on that green tip on there, and that locks it. You can see there's like a little silver tab right there. That's what you use to pull out. So it's very easy to put back together. This way, when I have in my hand, connects into the set of ignition coils, so that I gotta get clipped back on. So you're pretty much just reversing the process, finding all the harnesses that go where. Of course, you know, they connect into a certain sequence, starting with the back cylinder. I believe that would be cylinder 7. I believe 7, and then the other side would be 8, if I'm not mistaken. But that has nothing to do with this video. So again, I'm just putting everything back together for now. I still have to reroute the harness, and then I still have to loom the alternator wire, power wire. I just wanted to figure out how it was supposed to be set back before I loom it correctly, and then start working on that side. Hopefully we can get to that side. If not, we might have to make another video just because it's getting so late. I was just getting out of work, so I squeezed a little bit of time. It is about, I want to say, maybe 6 o'clock or so on a Friday, and of course I have work tomorrow, so it makes it a little bit tough also. But let's finish what we got going on. Alright, so here we are connecting the driver's side harness together. I had everything zip tied to the alternator, which would move the wire harness out the way just so I can get to everything if you've seen it before. So now I cut the harness, the zip tie, and now I'm just moving everything back together. This way I can run the wire, the power wire to the alternator, and then I just gotta hook up the actual fuel injectors with this harness. I just gotta tuck that back in there. So we're definitely moving along. And then once we do that, just pretty much just put the intake, the air intake back on. So let's see what all the ones are at. Again, it is definitely hard to see. As you can tell, there's like one in here. So you just gotta sneak or finagle, I would say, the harness itself. Once you get everything situated, and they just line up. So I'll start with the back. And then we'll just work our way up. Again, there's not really much you can really see. You just want to make sure you plug everything in correctly. As you can tell, I did this one backwards. Kind of hard to do this with one hand, but as you guys can see, you get the point. Put that one over this. This way can go in behind it, and then that one goes in there. Okay, that goes in there. Then this is plugged into the first one. It's actually behind here, you can't even see it. But once you do that, make sure all the green clips are pushed in, because that's what latches everything down. And then you're good to go on that end. Alright, so as I was putting this back in, I was having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out where, I forgot where this last plug went into. As you can see, it actually goes into this module right here. So don't forget, right behind this valve, the whole valve connector, and to this module, I'm not too sure what, it's probably some type of vacuum line, something, evacuator, and that plugs into there, just as an FYI. So overall, this is how it looks. Everything plugged in. All the ignition coils, again, these didn't have to be unplugged. All you have to do was unclip it from here, disconnect the actual ignition coil pack, and then all the plug outs are right behind for the fuel injectors. Very simple job, a little time consuming, but definitely a good day's work. Alrighty, so now pretty much got everything all put together. We're just do one good old oil check. because again, this thing did have a valve cover leak. Also has some other type of oil leak that we gotta find at the bottom. We're gonna take a look at that a little later. It might be an oil pan gasket. So it looks like there's oil in this thing. So we're going ahead and fire this thing up, let it sit, and then fire it up again, just to break it in, get those gaskets up to temperature, and then cool them off before they get too hot and expand too much. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for today's video. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Again, it's been a minute. Of course, we got more projects to come. Just time, weather, and work is all getting in the middle of things. So thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the like button. See you in the next one.